All right, there we go. Because we have so much to get in here. And I know some people are going to hop on late. A lot of the ladies were like, oh, shoot, can't make it with the time change and everything, date change. So thank you for your flexibility and understanding with that and your grace. You know, when you want to step into that true self and challenge yourself, we always get tested, and I have been tested in every way in this last week. So here we are, and I'm really excited about this. I'll talk more about that, but I just want to, I want to welcome you and thank you for making the time to make it on live, because there's something about sharing that energy and interacting together that it takes it to it's a different experience. And you both already know the beauty of our community. And I just want more women to know the power of being surrounded, speaking of our conversation prior to pushing record, being surrounded by people who want to grow, people who want to uplift in life, who want more, who want to feel their most vibrant, healthy, happy, all the things highest self, and are going to support and challenge each other and empower each other to do that. This webinar is truly my heart. My heart wrote it. This was a vision I had months and months ago, and finally it's here, it's happening. And I will tell you, not just my heart wrote it, but I put my heart and soul into it. I don't even know how many hours, countless amount of hours. My dad just asked me, do you work 24/7? I'm like, I can't stop. It's truly been, I don't feel like I'm working. It just has been flowing out of me. And so this means the world to me that something in this resonated with you, because truly, it's my heart, it's my purpose, it's my mission. And to be able to share that with other women who it resonates with is powerful. So I've been listening. I had a lot of conversations with women around midlife. I hate that term. I was telling a lady who was in her 60s that was doing this webinar, and she said, honey, I'm not midlife yet. You think you are? I was like, no, it's just a cute term. It's not, it goes well with magic, and it easily defines, hey, Jacqueline,
Hi.
what we're experiencing here. I jumped right in because we have so much to do here tonight. So I'm just going to roll with it. And this, I'll be honest, this webinar isn't just about midlife. It's not. It's about life, because we get one ticket on this earth and we are here to freaking live it. And that's who is attracted to this particular webinar. And that's, you guys are my people. So thank you for showing up tonight. We have so much to dive into. Literally, I have to share with you, I was so excited about this. So I was at tea with a friend, and I was like, I've got this thing and I'm finally going to make it happen. And she's like, cool, tell me all about it. And I was like, okay, girl, well, I went through all the things I want to talk about. And I just went, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, there's no way that we can put all of this into a 1-hour webinar. And she goes, girl, this isn't a webinar. That's just the start. There's going to be so much more that comes of this. And boom, she is right. There isn't going to be just this webinar. Hey, ladies, there's going to be so much more coming from this. We're going to tonight, I mean, I'm telling you, I wrote this and I tried to continue to like, oh, it can't, that's still not an hour. That's like 3, that's 2, that's 1. I just had to keep pulling things out. So tonight we're going to have to like skim the surface. We're going to be like a plane that's like just hitting the surface and not diving deep into the material, because we can't. That would not be fair to us to do that. And I want to just warn you that can mean it'll feel a little overwhelming tonight, because we're going to hit on every topic and just touch. But I will guarantee you, when we pull this into workshops and things in the future, in my groups, I'm going to be centering my groups all around these topics, that my bod groups, for those of you who are familiar, if you're not, don't worry about it. It's a different language. I'm going to do workshops, webinars, mentorships, all sorts of things are coming. I don't even know what yet. It's going to come. But I know that right now, this is going to be a lot skimming the surface. In those, we're going to go deep dive. So that's where we'll take it bite by bite. So tonight, if you feel overwhelmed, that's going to be normal, because we're going to go all the things. Normally, I want to make this interactive, but because we're going through all the things, it's going to be a lot of me. And this girl at 46 made her first slideshow. You're welcome. I'm so excited about this. So no judgment is my first one ever. So tonight I do want you to leave with some tangibles, some things that you can apply to your life right now, and also some awareness of where you want to grow moving forward in your future, what that might look like for you. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see my slides. So good to see all your faces. I didn't get to say hi to all of you in the beginning here.
I'm already impressed that you put this together.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many hours, and it just was like, how did that happen? It's been my pride and joy to do, truly my purpose. All right, present. Do you guys, and thank you, Jacqueline. Do you guys see this screen, Midlife Magic, start? Is it presenting?
Yes.
It is. Okay, cool. My friend Linka took that picture when she made me get in a waterfall. And I do want to tell you the background of that story. I almost said, no, my hair is done and we're going to this thing. And never miss life. Never miss a moment in life. And fortunately, I have a good friend that said, don't miss this. I just want you to notice that the cheetah is wagging its tail. I know. That's a big deal to me too. All right, let's get into this. Tonight, I got to get all my things out of the way so I can see my own slides. Bear with me. Okay, we're going to explore all things midlife. I've really just been actually, if I can just stop, if you could put in the chat what it was that drew you to this webinar. If there was something in my email or my video email that resonated with you, I want to know what it was, because I want to dive deeper into the things that matter to you. And this was me creating the areas of life that I felt were really hitting for me right now in this chapter, and the women that I was speaking with. So if there's other areas that I don't have here, I want to know. And if there are areas here you were like, oh, that hit for me, I want to know. So please put that in the chat. I can't see the chat, which is probably a good thing because I'd be spiraling all over the place. I do have notes, so I will stay on track, because I'm telling you, I could talk for all year about all these things. So we're going to stay on track and go. So we're going to explore all things midlife, from hormone harmony with fitness and nutrition, relationship shifts because things are shifting. Our kids are getting older. Some ladies weren't here tonight because they were dropping their kids off at college. Others are raising teenagers or more independent older kids. Our identity, our purpose is shifting with that, and our lifestyle is shifting with all of these things that are coming with this time of our life. I want to talk about the warrior goddess within each of us, our vision and our mission, and our unique light that we get to shine. That tattoo has since gotten bigger than that one. And then the mindset and mindfulness of, Heather, I think you took that picture at the ocean there. Uncovering our true selves, free and untethered. We all come to this earth. I want to give you the overarching thing that's going to cover all four of these is the goddamn cheetahs, the soul fire cheetahs. This is like everything to me. We were all born on this earth, whole and complete. Like, we were ready for it. And then we were born into this matrix, and we were taught to, conditioned to act like this, do these things. All of these things started piling on. We started putting these masks on. And now it's time for us to peel those masks off and start quieting that outside noise and start listening within. So we're going to do so in each one of these areas in life. See why we couldn't do all of this in one night, in 1 hour. So, okay, this whole midlife crisis crap, okay. Well, maybe if you're buying like a red BMW and you can't afford it and you're doing it for ego, that's, I would call a crisis. But a midlife opening is when, to me, this is our chance to really break ourselves open, pull those masks off, and like embrace this next chapter. We're shifting, our bodies are shifting, our lives are shifting, our world is shifting. And perimenopause, by the way, it's a beautiful transition. Hormones are not a medical condition. Nothing's wrong with us. This is the birth of a new beginning for ourselves, all areas of our life. This is truly our time. And I know you guys know that, or you wouldn't be here. tonight. I gotta make sure I'm staying on my notes, you guys. All right, let's talk about the real problem. First of all, in our health, only 6% of health and fitness research was done on women. So here we are trying to follow intermittent fasting and keto and all these things that work for men, and our bodies cycle on a 28-day cycle. And then we have these shifts that happen, and then they quit cycling, and men have a totally different body. They cycle in 24 hours. So this research is not applicable to us, and it's actually doing us harm, setting our hormones off, setting our it's doing the reverse of what we think it's going to do for us. So that's one problem. Hormone imbalances are where the symptoms come in PMS, and we're going to dive into that, and in perimenopause. So those are optional. Symptoms are optional. Gut health and inflammation so intertwined in that, and with everything. We'll talk about that. And our worthiness has been attached to our roles and our goals. How much money in the bank, how good we look, how sexy we are, who we're married to, how our kids are doing, all these things, whatever it is, or we're busy. Oh my gosh, I'm busy, versus our souls. We have all these stories that we've been told, thus all the mass, the limiting beliefs that we start believing that get in our way. And it's full of these shoulds and have tos, and all of these things, they keep us playing small. They get in our way of our most healthy, happy, vibrant, authentic life. So tonight we're gonna shift this. So who am I? A lot of you already know me, but you know what? What most people know me as is someone who's been in the fitness industry, the wellness industry for a long time. I've done everything in the industry, from being in the videos to group fitness, personal training, business owner of a brick and mortar studio for personal training, group fitness, then became an online wellness partner, partnered with Body to use that platform. Had a lot of experience in these areas. Also, I'm a cheetah. When I say the cheetahs, I've seen over the fence and I jumped. We're going to define cheetah in a minute here. But what people don't know about me is that there was a time in my life when my worthiness was tied to what I achieved, how busy I was, what I was doing as a mom, if the laundry was folded and there was groceries in. I tied my worthiness to how I looked and what kind of results I was getting. My parents have a grandfather clock. My worthiness was tied to all of those things. I felt completely lost, unmotivated, and frustrated in my health journey, and honestly, in a lot of my journey. And perimenopause, by the way, came out of nowhere, caught me off guard. And there was a time that this cheetah tried to fold her corners in a box and fit in that box, instead of jumping out of that box and playing small. And I am committed to helping as many women as possible find their freedom to live authentic to themselves, live the life that they want to live, love themselves actually and fully, and live our most happy, healthy, vibrant, authentic life. I keep saying that, but those are my that's where it's at. So I want to empower women to just release those feelings of shame, frustration, feeling lost, listening to all the noise, just hearing all of that, the loneliness that can come with all of that noise, and the unworthiness that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough. So before we move on into our topics, I am going to define cheetah. I'm going to give a really short synopsis. If you've read the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle, if you haven't, just read the prologue. You can Google it after this. I'm going to botch it up, but I'll give you the idea, the concept. It's a true story about the author Glennon Doyle taking her daughter to the zoo, and they were watching it was a cheetah that was trained in the zoo to stay in the cage and to follow the golden retriever. So they did a show and the golden retriever did it, and then the cheetah did it. And at the end of the show, the little girl was looking at the cage and the cheetah was looking over the cage. I got emotional today when I was practicing this and saying this story. The cheetah looked over the cage, and the little girl said, "Mom, she realized she's untamed. She realized she's wild." And that hit for me so hard. And that's why I'm here to help every woman who doesn't want to fold her corners into that box anymore, to live a life authentic to her. I spent too much time trying to fold that in. And it's crazy how I'm sitting here at my parents' house where I used to do that. And I'm being tested, like I said, in every way, because I want to take it to that next level. And I want you to know, every time you do that, every time you want to grow, every time you want to do more, the universe is going to go, do ya? Do ya? Do you really? Let me show you show me what you got. So let's talk about it. We're going to start with topic number 1 was hormone health. Self-care is how you take your power back. Boom. Okay. I will tell you, I am not a doctor. I did literally countless amounts of hours of research, reading books, listening to podcasts, and I was looking for the common denominators that every doctor, female doctors that were using research on females we're talking about in this area. And that's what I put together here for you, is that information, those common denominators. So first of all, we got to define perimenopause. It happens for every woman at age 35. That's when it starts happening in the brain. It is just like puberty starts in the brain. I think it's at age 7 or 9. This is just puberty in reverse. So at age 35, our brain starts the process. Even though we don't know it, it's just starting the process as we transition. So, one thing to pay attention, if you are still cycling, this was jaw-dropping to me. So our luteal phase, so those last 5 days, well, the luteal phase is quite long, but the last 5 days right before we bleed, that is the end of the luteal phase. And that's typically when we experience PMS. Those symptoms are not to be ignored. Those are just a sign our body is saying, hey, something's off balance. Our hormones are not in harmony. Our hormones are imbalanced. I thought it was something we just lived with. I had no idea of this. So this is something we can share with our daughters as well, because if they can know that now, they're going to be in a whole different place when they're at our age. It's not too late though, ladies, don't worry. So we do actually get a really good synopsis, a little picture of what perimenopause is going to feel and look like for us during our PMS. Depending on what our PMS looks like, that's the same kind of feeling. We're going to experience the same kind of symptoms typically that we'll feel in a perimenopause. If we can get it in check then, awesome. We'll talk about that. And then we can get it in check now if we're on a different end of that. So there's 2 phases of perimenopause. Phase 1, ages 35 to 45. I'm giving a window. Obviously, we all are different. This can happen much younger, older. It's different for everyone. But typically, I'm going to give statements to keep it simple. Age 35 to 45. I know that was exactly it for myself. I didn't feel anything in that first phase. I was normal. I was flowing my normal, felt like myself. Everything was just normal. But obviously in the brain, that's when that FSH is increasing, and it's just slow and gradual so that our body can be symptom-free instead of wham. So then ages 45 to 55, as that FSH is gradually increasing, it's creeping up. This is when we're going to start skipping ovulation at some point, skipping cycles at some point. And it's that 45 to 55 is that transition as well to menopause, which is actually one day, the last day. But if we haven't taken care of our hormones and micronutrient levels, then this phase can be a roller coaster of all those stereotypical symptoms. You already know them, like hot flashes, the bloating, the weight gain around the middle. What else? Vaginal dryness. You can develop migraines. You can feel like a totally different person, mood-wise, all sorts of things. But none of that has to be the case. PMS doesn't have to be the case. Repeating that. PMS doesn't have to be the case. It's a sign of the hormone imbalances. And we don't have to have those symptoms. And perimenopause also does not have to be the case if we take care of ourselves properly. So that's why we're going to dive into that. I wanted to, first of all, make that understanding of why this is so important right now in our lives, now more than ever. So let's get into it. First thing, nutrition. This slide is going to stay up the whole time, by the way. I didn't make like mini slides. So, oh my gosh, the reason this idea of this webinar even came into my mind was because so many women were coming to me. They're like, oh, I bought all these, like, there's this program, they ship food to me, it's all processed, it's great, and it's expensive, and I eat crap, and it tastes like space food, but I'm losing weight. I had other women telling me, I don't eat, I just have a 4-hour window and I fast the rest of the time. Other women are like, oh, I'm keto, I don't eat any carbs. Other women were like, I cut my calories 1,200. Okay, starvation. All of these extreme things trying to, like, I get it, right? Because first of all, the diet industry is aimed at, we are targets, y'all. We are targets. And now all the things that used to work are not working. Now we became a bigger target and that industry is coming at us. Thus all the noise. So first of all, when we're under eating and skipping meals and doing fasted exercise and all those things with the goal of weight loss, the scale might come down. But unfortunately, that is muscle loss, which is really easy to lose the older we get. So we're just exasperating that by not eating enough. And then that slows our metabolism down. So eventually we're going to pay the price for that. So we got to stop that crap. Increasing our calories, actually, I find most women aren't eating enough to a point where we're not overeating, but being adequately fueled, balanced, and adequately fueled throughout the day so that we can maintain and build more muscle. So that's very important. So here's the relief to hear. Most find that just a few small adjustments make all the difference. And that's what we're going to dive into tonight. But the last thing I want to say is blanket statements are bullshit. So if you hear them, they do, like, everybody here is different. So there's nothing that's going to be the same for every one of us. So we do need to be patient and curious and have a mindset of that instead of a quick fix. Because guess what? Under eating is a quick fix. We're losing muscle. We're screwing up our hormones. We're making it worse later down the road. But if we can be patient and listen to our bodies and what works for us and what doesn't, and play with that and learn and grow with that, that's where the beauty is. In the results come as a side effect of just feeling true health and joy. All right. So I'm going to go over 5. I know we're going to do this. 5 key principles on nutrition, right here, right now. Number 1, gut health. All right, let's talk about it. It's really critical, all areas of life, but especially right now. So if our microbiome is messed up, there's no way that a doctor can help us with hormone therapy. Like, they are wasting our money and our time and doing things to our body because our hormones messed up, our gut's messed up. So that's important right there. Like, we got to get that in check before we can do any of this hormone stuff. And this is so empowering. When I heard this number, seriously, without any prescriptions, just elimination and detoxification, we can feel 90% better. 90%. This was a study. Lots more details to the study. How empowering is that? Without a pill, without giving our power away to a prescription and drugs, we can feel 90% better. Sign me up for that. So a healthy microbiome is obviously so important. It's going to help us also manage those hormone conditions, and also we don't absorb as many nutrients as we get older. And when we can have a healthy gut, that's going to help us absorb more nutrients. Back to that nutrient deficiency. When we have that deficiency, that's when things can go haywire. So I need to also address this issue. This makes me furious, but when I found out that American women suffer greater menopausal symptoms than any other places in the world, many countries have no symptoms. It's a time to be celebrated. Here, we got to get some pills in you. We got to treat you. That's huge. Food is medicine. Is it our food? Is it our diet to blame? I would say that's a big portion, because hormones are made from the food we eat, and we are what we ate. So if what we ate was eating foods sprayed with chemicals, if they were injected with hormones, we're going to get those. And the US has more liberal policies for food contamination compared to Europe and any other country. So these endocrine disruptors coming up, messing up our hormones, they keep continuing in our food chain. So the beauty is we do have the power of this. So just taking it back now, this is why it's so important to have whole foods, organic foods, food as close to the source as possible. It's just part of what's necessary for health and a good life. And I know I used to be able to say, the price is comparable, but the price is going up of those kinds of foods, and ironically, the price is going down since my anger with that of the other foods. So it does cost more. But I will say one thing my husband and I have agreed upon, we did when we first got married, is that we will never sacrifice nutrition, because we're going to pay for that sooner or later. So I want a quality of life for these next 50 years. And so this is where we invest our money. Well, I'll come home with all the tinctures and things for the healthy food. But I have like 20 of these tank tops that were $4. So we can put our money where we really where we want to invest it. So also just detoxing those congested cellular receptors, detoxing the liver, and supporting that. That's a big deal. We're going to talk about gut health. One quote I want to share with you guys before we move on is, love food that loves us back versus having this relationship with abusive foods. That's Dr. Amen. I love that quote. And with that, this coming month, in September, towards the end, we're going to start prepping for it after this webinar. I am going to be running a gut protocol group focused on gut health, all things gut health. This is a passion of mine. Went through a healing process with my daughter, paid a lot of money for it, for a functional doctor. And then this gut protocol came out. And I know at first I was like, are you kidding me? This is going to be hard. Because when we tell ourselves something's hard, it's going to be hard. But it wasn't. I found it was so freeing. I never felt better in my life. And once you're aware and you're empowered with what foods and healing, first of all, you've healed your gut to some degree at least. And then you start recognizing what foods treat my body well and what foods do not. You know what? We can still make a decision to have these foods. It's not like, oh, I'll never have those again. That's not going to happen, at least not in my life. But just knowing, okay, I'm going to have the ice cream. I'm going to pay for this tomorrow, but it's worth it. But when we go down too long a chain, that's what I've been doing. I'm at my mom's, you guys. Sugar is in every corner. Time to get back on it, because I remember how good I felt back then. And I want to feel that again, that natural energy instead of, oh, where's the caffeine today? It's like I said earlier, I mean, right there, 90% better with that alone. And our gut health, the reason I'm starting with nutrition and physical health, the hormone harmony, before we get into the other aspects of life, I do believe our gut is our second brain, they say, and our intuition is there. Like, how can we, if we don't feel vibrant, we don't feel healthy, how can we step into other things in life? So this is an important aspect of it. All right. Second principle is protein. We aren't eating enough protein, ladies. Typically, we are not. And there's lots of reasons we need it. Like muscle loss is for real. And so we need adequate protein to fuel our muscles so that we can continue to maintain and build muscle. And truth is, it's something called, what is it called? Anabolic resistance. Our body is not as good at processing that protein. So with that, we need more to compensate for that, because our body isn't absorbing it, utilizing it the same way it once did. So the other thing that protein, it's so good for, it's got amino acids, especially meat. So these are needed to produce critical components of our bodies, like our enzymes, our neurotransmitters, our hormones, and our antibodies, and also repair worn out cells and aid in the growth of repair tissue. So just comes down to, without enough protein, our body just can't function well at all. So how much protein should we eat? And we're not going to dive deep into that tonight, but I'll just give you a good average, just a guideline. Focus on 30 grams placed evenly throughout the day within 4 meals. So that's going to 40 or 4 meals times the 30 grams, about 120 grams. That would be a great, easy way to make sure you're getting enough protein at least. It's going to vary per person. In my future groups, we're going to dive into that and what that looks like for each of us based on all sorts of factors. But just in general, that's a good one to go with. I am going to emphasize again that high quality meat, grass-fed, organic, free range, no, not injected with hormones and processed and antibiotics, things like that. Can't emphasize the importance of that. And also fish and eggs and tofu and lentils and legumes. Those are good things too. But like I said, we'll dive into that in my future groups as well as future workshops, but that's a good guideline. So our third principle of nutrition, okay, this isn't going to be jaw-dropping, plenty of fruits and veggies. Remember what we talked about before with the micronutrients? Hey, these guys got lots of micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, and they can just help us feel it the best any time of life, but especially right now. There's certain foods, and we'll dive into that in future workshops. There's actually certain foods that are going to help us with our balancing of our hormones. But one simple thing, remember those 4 meals a day with the 30 grams of protein? Something we call the 2 bunnies, right? One of them is veggies most. Think 1 or 2 fistfuls with every one of those meals of veggies. And y'all, I got ways to make it like, do not eat boring vegetables. This should be like the flavor. This is we got all sorts of ideas and recipes and things for this. So don't you dare go, oh God, I just talked to one of my neighbors. She's like, yeah, I make myself like gag down a handful of spinach. I'm like, can you tell me why you do that? That should not, everything in life should be joyful, especially eating. So we're going to experiment with lots of different ways of that. Fourth principle of nutrition, assessing your beverage intake. I don't need to talk about water. You all know about water. We already know this. We've lived a few years. One easy way to get enough water, again, our 2 bunnies, water first. So before each meal, the first thing you do in your day, simple way to get more water. All right, you liked me until now, but let's talk about alcohol. No, I'm not going to tell you to take anything out. We had a conversation for this before we started recording, but it can aggravate menopausal symptoms. It can aggravate the vasomotor regulation, and that's going to interfere with those or cause those hot flashes. It can interfere with sleep quality. Long term, it can reduce our ability to recover from exercise. But here's the deal. Tune into your body because every woman is different and at different phases. So sometimes it might feel better to just eliminate it or just be more mindful of it. It just depends on our bodies. So, and the last thing I also want to say, I like to focus on adding versus subtracting because a rebel personality like myself, you take something away and I'm like, give me more of that. So what about mocktails? There are so many good mocktails. So we got recipes for that too. And since we're on this theme, caffeine, I would never tell you to take away your morning coffee, but it can intensify certain symptoms like breast tenderness, tension, anxiety, insomnia, things like that. Now, again, pay the attention to your body. It's going to affect everyone different. We all metabolize caffeine differently. It honestly doesn't affect me much, but others, it really affects them. So just pay attention. Also, the acidity in it can, back to that gut health, that can mess with the gut health. I can't have warm coffee. So, but I learned that by being like, what is causing my belly to ache and turn and all of these things, this bloatedness. It was hot coffee, but I can have a cold brew. So it's just an acidity thing for me. So back to the caffeine though. Paying attention to how your body deals with it. Again, focus on adding versus subtracting. Many of you already know, and we all do this, I think. I can't see all of you. I can only see a handful of you in my screen. But energize. Like it's clean energy. It's got a lot lower dose of caffeine. It has beta-alanine and quercetin. Hey, reduce inflammation. It doesn't have the acidity. It tastes amazing. So there's one way you can replace that, especially if you're dealing with soda. So let's talk about those sugary drinks. This isn't new news either. The flavored drinks, the sodas, things like that, of course, they're just going to have more sugar. and it's going to put us on that blood sugar roller coaster. And then you're going to crave more, like me at my mom's house right now. And so it's just better to stay off that roller coaster. Just trust me. And of course, sugar is going to make it harder to lose weight. It's going to cause an issue in our energy. So focusing on adding versus subtracting, finding an alternative. Again, I use Shakeology for mine because I make a coffee drink in the morning. I make it so delicious, and it's like ice cream. It's every morning. I can't wait to get out of bed and have that. So I don't compromise on taste, and it's doesn't give me any sugar crap. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. The last thing, fifth key principle. Every doctor said this that I listened to. Supplements. Well, first of all, they are necessary in the US at this point because we have soil depletion, farm to table. There's some things going on. But especially at this time in our life, if we can boost those up, it's going to help us. So just some things that I noticed every single doctor shared. Some of them I'm not going to share because only some shared, and the list would go forever. But these were like the foundation. 1, B vitamins. So a B complex, because B5 is going to help support the adrenals, a response to stress, and B6 is going to help your body produce more progesterone naturally. So balancing those things out. Probiotic, we already talked about gut health, making sure that we have a healthy microbiome, but we need a probiotic that actually gets to the gut. So not wasting your money on a crappy one. Magnesium glycinate. Oh, by the way, my Shakeology has that probiotic. I didn't even think of that. Magnesium glycinate form. I ran out of that at my parents, so I just ordered it on Amazon. This supports the production of follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone and thyroid stimulating hormone, all these critical hormones that signal the hormones in the endocrine system to perform optimally. So 1 in 2 women do have, 1 in 2, let's just stop and notice that 1 in 2 women have thyroid issues. So this is a big deal. Essential fats, omega-3s are really good, really important for us. Creatine, actually, I take that before my workouts. The adaptogens were recommended across the boards, and these are the ones that they shared. Maca, it's overall hormone smoothing out, helps your body regulate hormonally, especially as we're going through this downshifting. I can picture this downshifting, helps us even out our energy dips, our brain fog, stamina, and our libido. And it helps improve any signs or symptoms, not signs, symptoms of depression. Shisandra is another one, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha for stress management, it actually, the more we have in our body, the more we become a stress ninja. How cool is that? So the more we become more resilient to stress. As more stress comes at us, we just become more able to handle it, and without this huge disruption in our endocrine system. So that is incredible. Reishi is another one, stabilizing blood sugar there. Quarter steps, great for stress. These have multiple, but we would be here forever if we went through all of the things that they do. But adaptogens are a long game.
Would it be possible to get kind of a list of all these?
You know what? Look at the back of your Shakeology. It's
Okay.
all there. It's all there. But I can that's a great question. I'll send out an email, post this, and put that list together and some ideas. No, thank you for asking. Because really, when I was looking at these, I was like, okay, every one of these that they said that were I didn't put this together looking for the ones that were in Shakeology. I'm telling you, I went and listened to multiple podcasts, multiple books, and they all were saying these same ones. And they truly are. Every single one of these is in Shakeology it's tested, it's sourced well, it's whole food formula, it's going to get to your gut. Same with the probiotic. So that's, for me, that was like, okay, thank goodness. I don't have to go to natural grocers or order all this and try to figure out how I'm going to pop all these pills or take all these things. And are the pills getting to the system? What are we going to do here? So that was my morning sugar coffee drink replacement is covering all of this. So, but adaptogens are a long game. They build up over time in our body, and the more we have in our system, the better. So it's not going to be like, oh, I had that little ashwagandha today and I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel any different. So patience again. with these things. So, and in my feature groups too, I'll be sharing more about the supplements that I use. I've done a lot of the research because I don't want to just blow my money on different. Many of you are in my bod group already. That's a place to get this information because this is where I'm going to be really pouring this into. But there are certain ones I buy from certain places and just been doing research on what ones are actually good. And it doesn't mean they cost more that they're better. So really, it's a frustrating industry, and I want to know I'm getting something that is actually going to do my body good and not break my bank. So in future workshops, we're going to dive into all these things. In my groups, we're going to dive into all these things. We're going to talk more about diet and lifestyle in stages 1 and stages 2 of perimenopause because it's different, how to take inventory of where you're at right now, and then take care of yourself, nurture yourself where you're at so that you can take care of yourself best. Key things you can do in phase 1 to make sure, like hormone balancing in phase 1. If you have PMS, don't ignore that. Go, that is a sign. Taking care of that if you are still cycling, so that when you go into phase 2 and as you gradually go stop cycling, that you're going to eliminate those symptoms as you go through that. Man, I dove in hard on this stuff because this is relevant to all of us. What else? We're going to dive into all sorts of topics in my groups and in my feature workshops, from intermittent fasting, what that looks like at different phases, because it changes as our hormones change, underfueling, and putting our body in that sympathetic state, and how bad that is, and how we can make sure we are getting properly fueled, avoiding LEA, which is low energy availability, liver detoxifying through foods. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to be putting you through a liver detoxification program, but we can talk about foods that really help with that process. Specific foods that aid in perimenopause. As I said earlier, there are foods that are going to help our hormones balance and regulate. And also, another topic, we do become more insulin resistant as we get older, as well as our metabolism slows down. So we're going to talk about how to biohack that and so much more. So that was nutrition, you guys. We're still in hormone harmony. I want to talk about fitness really quick. This is an easy one. As our body changes during this process, our hormones are different, our bodies are different, our muscles are different, and pushing to the limit. I don't know about you, I started noticing that I need a little bit more time to recover. It's not like the next day I'm like, let's go. So if we can't push harder, and what we did before is not getting us results, then what are we going to do at this point? Well, here's the deal. There's 2 key components, and they're not hard. 1, strength training, lift heavy shit. My parents' clock goes every 15 minutes, you guys. I guess it's a good timer for me. So no matter what your exercise routine looks like, putting some weight bearing exercise in it 2 to 3 times a week, because there's several reasons. Muscle burns fat. It's a metabolism booster. Sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle that happens as we age. And what's the other one? Sarcopenia, and there's another one, osteopenia, that's bone loss. And both of those increase with age. They also, the rate that they go away, our muscle and our bone density goes away, increases with age, and as well as perimenopause and menopause. So if we can get ahead of that game, we can actually stop these things. Not just stop them, but reverse them. So strength training is so important. You guys, how to make strength training part of your routine. It comes down to the frequency that you work your strength training, your exercise selection, your volume, your load, your high impact exercise. And this is something we do in our groups too. I have programming for this. We have programming for this. So we'll dive into that and utilizing these programs and how I utilize them to make sure I'm getting plenty of that strength training. Second strategy is just simple, increasing your daily general movement. I found that, even if we're working out every day, it's just like a 20, 30, 40-minute workout, we can still be actually sedentary. So making sure we're moving our body as much as we can throughout the day. And that can just be simple things like getting up more in the day, or going for a walk, or dancing, or going to goat yoga, or I love mobility things. So again, the programming that we utilize has this intertwined in it, which is beautiful. So we don't really have to think about it. So those of you, like, for instance, right now I'm doing MM100. It's got the strength training and it has the mobility. So that recovery where you're not getting your heart rate way up. So many of these programs already have this intertwined in them. And if you're doing a program that doesn't have all of the above, I'll help you make sure that you're getting all of the above. There's simple ways that you can make sure you're getting a 20-minute strength training in 2-3 times a day, or a week, not a day. And you guys, back to that joy. When you're doing what you enjoy, what you love, it's way easier to be consistent. So find what you love. And a couple things, how to incorporate, because I know that can feel like I got to do this and I got to do that. No, in future workshops, we're going to really dive into on how to incorporate all of this into your life without it feeling overwhelming. Those of you who already do the programs, you're already likely doing this. And if you have questions about that, reach out to me. Let's talk about it in our group. I can go live in our group tomorrow and talk about this. But tips moving forward today: focus on moving your body at least 30 minutes every day, 2 to 3 times a week, prioritizing that strength training, compound, high impact. And if you're cycling, we're also going to talk in my groups and in my future workshops about cycle syncing your workouts, because we should not be doing the same thing all month. There are times when we should be working out heavy and lifting heavy and doing HIIT cardio, and there's other times that we should be recovering. So we're going to tap into that as well as with nutrition. I don't think I mentioned that. We're going to talk about cycle syncing nutrition so that you can get those hormones in check. All right. Last thing I want to say in this hormone harmony, y'all, menopause is treated like a disease in the US. The verbiage around it, the vocabulary, and actually it's a process. It's a natural, beautiful process that should be supported and embraced. And we have a finite amount of time to put an investment in this bank account of health. So there's no time like right now. Like, let's get going. If we're not doing it already, let's get going. We're taught to remain very passive in this. You know what? Oh, your hormones are off. Let's get you a pill for that. When we're young, they put us on the pill, or, oh, you've got signs and symptoms. We better get those parts out of you. They're wrong. Why didn't we look at what's causing that? And so we can get it in check before we take them out, right? So we're taught to remain really passive about this and not be empowered. Let's take our power back and let's be a goddamn cheetah in our own health. It's a short period of our life. It's that short little transition where we're going to be taking more supplements and adaptogens. We're going to be reducing our caffeine and our sugar and our alcohol in our diet, anything that's going to cause some disruptors in our balance. And I think it's important. This was a big one for me to shift my thinking about it. It's not taking too long. It's my time to mother myself. It's time for us to mother ourselves. We've been mothering our children and other people. It's time for it. This really teaches us to go give ourselves a little TLC, and we'll get through it fine. It's going to be amazing if we do that. So it's also a lot to look forward to. Like, biology has set us up to perpetually be remade as a better version and higher version of ourselves. So, hey, thank you, life cycle. Okay, that topic was a big one. These others are not as long, but these are the ones that really matter to me. That one is important because I think that one sets us up, sets the stage for these. I'm going to read this quote because I think it's a beautiful one. This is in my way. I came to believe that my true identity goes beyond the outer roles I play. It transcends the ego. I came to understand that there is an authentic I within I am, or divine spark within the soul. And this is a time when our kids might be going to college, our kids are getting older, they don't need us as much. Our roles are shifting, our identity is shifting, our relationship with our spouse may be shifting because all of a sudden, hey, who are you? Here we are without the kids, or the lifestyle is changing. There's so many things shifting in this time frame. If your kids don't drive yet, you'll know as soon as they drive, like, bye, right? So as this happens, I think it's so, like, we are grieving the end of a chapter in ways, but we're also celebrating that we get to step into this new chapter and rediscover who we are, take those masks off and tap into ourselves. We have more time for ourselves. And it's really easy to fill that extra time with busyness. I got to be busy because that's my worthiness. And I always was busy. So I'm going to be busy. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to be busy, busy, busy. Busy makes me feel good. And maybe those busy things, that to-do list, those things that we feel like we need to or should do, aren't in alignment with what our soul really is here for. So it's a great time for us to just tap into that. And these buckets, I didn't make up these buckets. This is from John. Those of you who are in body, we have this in our mindset content under the Good Life. John was a rich, very wealthy lawyer and got very sick, almost killed him. And he's like, well, that does not bring a good life. What does bring a good life? And he did a lot of research and he brought up these 3 buckets. And I'm not going to go dive deep into them, but we are in a future stuff coming up with each one of these. Our vitality, feeling energized, fit, strong, flexible, as free from pain and disease and disability as possible, aware, present, engaged in the moment in our life, peaceful, calm, and able to navigate change. Whew. Yeah, because that's coming, right? That's real life. Grateful and growing. Our connection. Do we feel loved without condition? Are we feeling strongly connected to good friends? I know you guys are the people in our groups, my team. I don't know what I would do in life without belonging to a like-minded community of women who want to grow, who don't just sit around and go, me, or, this is what I got, this is what I do, but listen to each other, see each other, want each other to grow, want the best for each other, and will challenge each other and empower each other and love each other through that. Because sometimes we lose belief in ourselves. Connection, feel a strong sense of connection to my environment. And lastly, contribution. Do I feel a sense of meaning in the way I contribute to the world? Do I feel my strengths and abilities are fully tapped? Do I feel my actions are aligned with my values? Back to that busy, busy, busy. Is my to-do list actually in alignment with where I want to go? Sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's a bunch of shoulds and have tos. And I feel worthy when the laundry's folded. I feel worthy when all these things are done. I feel worthy when my job makes money, whatever it is, fill in the blank, right? Do I feel a sense of purpose and passion? Do I feel lit up, sparked, and absorbed? This webinar sparked my soul. I felt that in everything in my life. So this is how we're going to dive into this area in the future in workshops, my groups, things like that. Let's move into Warrior Goddess. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is a quote by Heather Ash Amara, who wrote The Warrior Goddess. Your heart is not a fragile, delicate bird, but a resilient, powerful hawk learning to fly. Power does not come from who you know, what you do, or how much money you have in the bank. It comes from blossoming into unconditional love for yourself and embodying joyful faith in your gifts. This is what Warrior Goddess is. It's the antidote to I'm not enough. Warrior energy is that power. I felt all of this when I was writing this workshop, putting this together. I was focused. I was dedicated. You could not take me off of this. I wanted to be here and do this. I felt it. It was a fire in my soul fire. Goddess energy. It's our creative energy, our flow. I didn't know what this workshop was going to be until a matter of days ago. It just started coming. I wasn't stressed about it. I knew it was coming. Unconditional love, pleasure, passion, that wisdom, tapping into that within us. And then an empowered warrior goddess embodies our unique, not a 50-50. We each have a unique blend of that warrior and that goddess energy. So this is something we're going to dive fully into because this is very similar to the last one, but to me, they are different. In future workshops, we're going to dive in and close the gaps between self-rejection and true acceptance, between thinking and being, between wishing and becoming. This is, commitment to ourselves comes in layers. It's not like, I got this. It means saying yes to all of you, to the parts you love and the parts you dislike. I have questions I'd love to explore with you guys tonight. I'm going to have to save those for future workshops because I'm keeping my eye on the time. But I have questions that really help us explore without judgment where we find our self-worth so that we can tap into where our self-worth comes from, be aware of that, and realize that we are giving it outside ourselves instead of I am not enough, these other things. So when we can really tap into where that's coming from, we can quiet that, we can tap inside and find our own vision and mission with curiosity. And if you're here and you're like, I already know my mission in life, that is amazing. And maybe it's uncovering more of it, or maybe you have no clue. You've never thought about this. Time to explore it and see what's coming your way. And doing it our way, cheetahs, doing it our way. We all have our own bright light to shine. So, you know what? I heard this quote and I had to write it down. There's something about not playing small in a world that always makes you feel that way. That is an act of bravery and beauty like no other. Okay. Ladies, right now, I've seen so many of my friends like, oh, the kids are going. I think I'm going to work at this store or this restaurant, and nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if they're tapping into their full potential of what they came here to do, their special gifts. They're like, if we have a story within us, that fire within our soul, that is going to ignite others. And we all have one. We all have one. And I hope that I can provide a platform for every woman to share theirs. All right, moving on to the last one. Mindset and mindfulness. I feel, well, she's done what she should she do what she dares. Reba McEntire. If we have all this noise, it's going to get in the way. Whenever we're making a shift and we're growing and stepping into that next level of ourselves, we will be challenged. Whew, trust me, I've been challenged in every way in the last 2 weeks I could possibly even think of. Even before this, I spilt everything on my shirt. So I had to change shirts at 2 minutes before this whole thing. Our old stories are going to sneak in, you guys. I'm not good enough. Who am I to think I can do this? Other people could do it better. There's other people doing this. I'm too much. I'm not enough. It's easier just to be average. I'm just going to go get a job. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't need to do this. I should focus on enter XYZ, the kids, my career, blah, 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 whatever, husband. I don't have time for it. I don't deserve that. A girl like me doesn't do this. That's not the way that my friends are doing it. My mom did it. I need to do XYZ to be worthy. All this stuff creeps in our mind because it's our primitive brain trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us down, and it holds us back from truly living. So if we want to step into our authentic highest self, we need to change those stories, because if they're there, they're going to keep on getting in our way. Our old habits, we have to change those too, right? Because our old habits, they were created in our subconscious too. They were created by those stories, right? So how we've lived our life, the habits we've created came from those. And so it's just like a crazy cycle, right? Because if we're following those habits and they came from those stories, our habits create our life. So in order to create a new life, we have to go back and change the habits, which means we have to change the stories, right? All right. So we have to change these stories. But the thing is with subconscious, this is going to ding now, so that means I am up, but I'm going to finish this thought here. The thing is with our subconscious, it's hard for us to see, right? It's our blind spots. Our limiting beliefs are limiting beliefs. They're beliefs. We believe them. They're stories we've been told, we've been conditioned, we've seen, we've told ourselves, we found evidence for them. We have proved this crap to ourselves. So it's really hard to get beyond them ourselves. And that's why we need a community to do so. We need other women to support us and surround us and say, you know what, I got to go. I started doubting myself with this webinar, you guys. And I had a friend say, Emily, she just gave me this hug and she's like, you are stepping into it. Don't let anything stop you right now. And so being surrounded by other women who are going to help you, challenge you, not going to let you play small, not going to let you step back, and they're doing it too. All right, and learning and applying, seeing, learning, applying, being surrounded by others who are like, hey, I don't know if you see this, but I see this, because we can't see our own blind spots. So mindfulness is quieting that outside noise so we can listen to our hearts, to our inner knowing. And mindset is shifting those subconscious so we can create new thoughts, new stories, new life. Now, when I say new life, don't worry, you don't have to leave your old life. Like, that's not what we're saying here. It's just taking it up to authentic life. I'm not saying changing who we are. I'm saying really find out who we are underneath, taking those masks off. All right, so let's get into it. Let's wrap this up. Okay, so you might be wondering, okay, you keep talking about this future stuff, like we went tonight. So how can we dive further into this? And first of all, I am going to save this chat and I'm going to see what you want more of, because I want to know what you're looking for. But I am planning on doing future workshops on all of these topics, from everything that we talked about tonight, all of these topics that we talked about tonight, really diving into them. Some of them are going to be mentorships, community. I have this community. Many of you are already a part of it, where we talk about these. These are the topics we're going to dive into. We're going to take to the next level within our community. And we're doing the next kickoff call on September 10th. So if this is something you want to explore, this community that we've got here of women who are doing this shiz, message me, because it's time to lean in and be surrounded by others. We're going to do gut protocol. That does not mean you need to do gut protocol. If that does not resonate for you right now, don't worry about it. The focus this month is going to be reset. Reset. I feel like it's a great time. The fall, kids are going back to school to reset for our body, our mind, and our soul. We are going to talk about hormones, meaning gut protocol, as well as fitness and nutrition within the groups and different workshops. And I have a future mentorship with about that purpose and that passion within our team, and sharing your story to ignite that fire in others. What burns in us, it ignites in others. I stole that, but it's facts. Lisa, I can't think of her last name. I was going to put a link for a consultation connection call link in our chat, but I forgot to copy it, so I can't paste it. So you know what I'll do? I will email that out to all of you in my follow-up email with the recording of this and that link, because I want to talk to you. I want to hear your feedback from this workshop. I want to know how I can make it better in the future. I want to know what topics are near and dear to your heart. I want to know what hit for you and what didn't hit for you. I want to learn what you want to learn more about. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your heart. So please book a chat with me. There's like, if you're not working with me, there is not going to, I don't work like that. You only work with me if I am meant for you, and it's very personal. So if I'm meant for you, let's do this. And if I'm not, sister, I hope that I left you with something tonight that you can move forward with. But also, if you don't mind just throwing in the chat right now, if there's things here that you are like, ooh, I want to know more about that, Emily, or I'm in for gut protocol, I'll book a call with me. We'll talk about gut protocol, and we're going to start slow with this. We're going to all get our things set together, because it's a process. It's not like, okay, tomorrow we're going to do that. So also grab my phone number and grab my email, because if you have a sister, a friend, someone else in this, that something here would hit for, maybe you've got some friends that have been complaining about their hormones. Maybe you've got friends who are like, I don't know what's next. I feel stuck, or the kids are leaving and they're really losing their identity with that. If you know women in these places, please just give them my phone number. I don't got social media, and I'm not going to apologize for that, but I got a phone number and I got an email, and I'm very responsive to both of them most of the time if I'm not in a family emergency. These are just beautiful things that some of the ladies have shared. I won't read this, but our community, like, women give me too much credit. It's our community. It's us being together in that place, and the things that we do together. And that's all I gotta say. And so finally, I just want to say thank you to you guys. One thing I heard from Jamie Kern Lima, she said, we don't rise to what we believe possible. We fall to what we believe we are worthy of. I don't know if that hits for you, but that hit for me. This is our time, ladies. Like, well, the word healing feels kind of heavy, but we are healing. We're recognizing like what's been in the past and uncovering our true selves and how we want to move forward. And it's time to create our future. What are the next 50 years like? Like, this is such an exciting time in our lives. It's our time to shine. It's our time to reset, to reinvent, to rejuvenate, and realign, to shine our light bright. So I want to stop my share and see you all